Hello, Leapers, and welcome to the new episode of Leap to Empower. I'm Shaila Lalani, and this podcast is to honor the real life stories of people who dare to leap into the unknown. Today, I'm joined by someone who is inspiring, a dear friend whom I've known since childhood, Fareeda Momin. Fareeda is a woman of resilience, courage, and quiet strength. She became a mother of twins who came early and walked through some of life's toughest chapters with grace. Those tiny babies are now 16, thriving because of a mother who never gave up on them and never gave up on herself. Beyond her role as a mom, Fareeda has built an incredible career at MD Anderson Cancer Center, where she has spent almost 2 decades leading, serving, and empowering others. She is a professional force and personal inspiration, a woman who proves that even in the face of challenge, you can rise, stand tall, and keep leaping forward. Fareeda, so excited to have you on the show today. I am so looking forward to our conversation. So let's get started.
Thank you for having me. It's truly my pleasure and grateful that we're doing this interview and that we're able to serve our community to empower every single person that's out there.
So tell me, who is Fareeda?
Fareeda is me. I also go by Tina, as some of y'all might know. But Fareeda is a mother of twin daughters who's gone through a lot in life, but has learned so much to give back to the community, and is one of those resilience people that is thriving every single day to make sure that the next day does come. And what does the next day hold for me?
Very interesting. Tell us what leaps you had to go through to get to where you are today. We want to know your story.
Yeah, for sure. The leaps that I've gone through, I think the most challenging through my whole life was my twins. True blessing and truly life lesson learned. I remember when I was pregnant at 13 weeks, I found out that I'm going to have twins. At that time, I was not expecting that, or did not, just shocked at the doctor's office, and my jaw just dropped. So at 13 weeks, found out I was having twins. And I know you can't see through this podcast, but I'm 4'11". I'm a tiny person. As soon as they found out, they transferred me to a high-risk doctor. Where the high-risk doctor, I would have to go every single week to the doctor because of being small and having 2 babies inside my tummy. So the journey of challenges, the leaping started there, and it did not stop there. I had to keep going every single week to the appointment, but it wasn't a normal appointment that every woman would get. Mine was different. I had to get scanned every week. I had to get both of those babies checked, starting with how their legs are doing and how much growth do they have, what percentile they're in. Every single week, gave blood, got tested, got scanned, and I would leave happily. But one day, on my 24th week, that was not a happy moment for me. I was told at that week that I need to get admitted. The very next day, the doctor gave me 24 hours, go home, pack your stuff, I will see you tomorrow morning at the hospital, you're getting admitted. So I said, wait, time out. You just threw a lot at me. I need to process what you just said. I literally asked the doctor, can you please step outside? I need to process this information. The nurse came in, gave me a water bottle, and I was like, what did he just ask me? It was a question of changing life. It was the pivot of my life. Well, that time came, and the doctor came back, of course, in 5 minutes, because I'm sure he has other patients to see. And he said, well, you need to get admitted because all 3 of y'all are at risk, the babies and yourself. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to get admitted. I don't mind, but we're not delivering the babies tomorrow. I said, they're barely born, barely have eyes. Their skin's probably still growing. Their heart is still going. Their lungs are still developing. That's too much of a risk. So he said, you have another options. This is where you have to trust your gut and ask questions. What are my options? Every single moment you get, ask those questions. What is my option? Just ask. That's one thing I tell everybody. In that moment, if I didn't ask, I would not be with my twins today. That moment, I asked myself and I asked the doctor, what are my other options? Can I stay in the hospital every single day? You can come check me here and tell me that I can keep my kids longer in my tummy. Let them have them naturally and organically. That moment, the doctor said, yes, you have that option. So let's get you admitted. Go home today, pack your stuff, and come in the next day. So I did the same exact thing. Went inside, packed my stuff, went in the hospital the next day, got admitted, And so now we're at 24 weeks still. So every day I would buy time. I would buy a day at a time. 25 weeks went by. 26 weeks went by. 27 weeks was the game changer. That's when the doctor came and said, hey, one of the babies in the womb is not getting as much blood. So the tube for her is tightened. So she's only getting a drop, a drop, a drop of blood. So therefore the growth has slowed down a lot. So I said, okay, well, I bought 3 weeks. Let's do this. So that was a win-win for me, of course. And it's a win for the doctor and, of course, a win for my twins as well. So 27 weeks, gave birth. It was a Sunday morning, I remember, and it was also a religious holiday. So I made it a perfect day. And then, of course, had the C-section, took the babies out. But at that moment, when the babies came out, I was not allowed to touch them because they were still being developed. The incubator literally came rushing to my bedside, took those babies and put them in there. And I asked the doctor, can I touch them? He said, I prefer you not because they're still developing. No one's allowed to touch them. I said, no, this is my option. I would like to just to touch. I said, even if it's on their hand, can I just get that touch? So he let me do that. Right away, the kids were taken into NICU to get them stabilized. And of course, I got stabilized. Within 2 days, I got my stitches and got it removed. And here I am leaving the hospital without my kids. If this is not a challenge, this is the life revolving challenge that changed my life. What can I do? I cannot take my babies home because they're both less than a pound, size of my finger, sizes of my palm. There's no way I can do anything. Well, that's the way life is. When they throw you challenges, they're just challenges. But you have to overcome these challenges. You have to say, I can do this. I can thrive. Sometimes life throws you challenges and sometimes you can't get through it, even day by day. But let's take it hour by hour. Sometimes it's a minute by minute. It depends on the challenges you're going through in life. But we have to stop and look at the options we have. At that moment, of course, I went home, cried like a little baby, of course. I was missing my baby. I felt like something was taken away from me and I had no control over it. But what can I do at that moment? I prayed, and I just kept on telling myself everything will be okay. I told myself every single day, I will be okay. Eventually, I started going to the hospital, providing milk for my babies. I would deliver pump during nighttime. I would pump there. I would stay all day over there. And then after that, of course, my leave was done from MD Anderson. I work at MD Anderson. And then I had the choice that I could work there as well and then keep providing and going back and forth, living in the medical center, which made it a lot easier. I would just take their milk every single day and go do my business and just do commuting back and forth. Well, now it's been a month. My kids are in the NICU. Second month comes along and the doctor says, you can no longer provide milk. They need to gain weight. So at that point, I had the choice. I had the option. I wanted them to gain weight. So I stopped pumping and I started saying, okay, let's go do that. But another mother reached out to me whose child was also in NICU and found out that the doctor asked me to stop pumping. This mother reached out and said, can you please help my child? Like I said, her baby was also in NICU at the same time and needed that milk, as the gold milk, as we call it. So this is your option as well. Do I want to stop and just focus on my kids, or am I here for the community? How do I empower other women, or how can I help other people around me that are going through the same thing? But guess what? You have the option of helping. So I took that and then, of course, helped this other child out as well. That mother would come every single day, pick up the milk and take it to her baby at the NICU as well. That went on. And then after 3 months, we crossed that bridge. Now it's 4 months. It's time for the kids to come home. So it took them 4 months to go through that. And now it's time for them to come home. I think that is the biggest challenge that I've had in life, and a lot of learning opportunities of seeing what is life and what can I do and what options I have in life.
Your message has been profound. I have goosebumps the whole time that I've been hearing you. You've definitely been through a lot. Did you have any support along the way? How did you get up every morning and have the courage to face life when you were going through that?
I think when you have the best family, and yes, I am saying that, I have the best family. My sisters, my brother-in-law, my parents, every one of them have been there for me. I could not have done it without my sisters. They're like the backbone of my entire body, from head to toe. I could not tell you. They have been there thick and thin. What do you need? What can you help me with? I think as a woman or as being a person, that support. Your emotional support, your personal support, even your financial support sometimes is there, and I love them dearly.
Great to have that support system. I'm sure you're grateful and blessed to have that. And so you mentioned that you were working. How did you manage work-life balance during this challenging time? And how did you get into MD Anderson? And how did that leap go for you?
Yeah, so my undergrad is in HR and IT, and I graduated from University of Arkansas, and then I started working at my master's at U of H in Sugar Land. At that point, I saw a job opening at MD Anderson. I applied for the position, and now 20 years later, I'm still working at MD Anderson. And I'm working as a leader, serving over 27,000 employees, and my strategy is about recognition and the work-life support. So that kind of goes into that work-life support. What I needed at 20 years, now I'm providing to the employees, paying it forward to them and saying what family support programs are there. How do we recognize each other? How we're grateful for the doctors, for the nurses that are out there. And having that flexibility at my work during the challenging time of having the twins and going back and forth in the medical center made it a lot easier because my kids were at Texas Children's Hospital and MD Anderson's right there, literally the backyard of medical center. So it was easier for me to travel and just stay there all day.
You're a woman of just resilience, power. That's amazing. How was that day when you brought them home? And how did that leap go to where they're 16 now?
Yes, that is amazing, even to know the fact that they're 16. That day when they said the kids are going home, I asked the doctor, am I taking both of them together? Do you expect me to take two NICU babies home the same day? And they said no. So how it happens is that you get to take one baby home on a Friday, you go through the weekend, and you get the next baby on Monday. So you kind of have to settle in. Well, they just didn't come home in a normal state. They came home with a heart monitor, both of them. So with the heart monitor, as being a NICU baby, these kids would fall asleep and don't realize they're not breathing. So with the heart monitor, it will alert the entire street, I feel like. But it would beep so hard that the baby has stopped breathing that you have to get up and wake them up. And it's not just a tap on their face. You have to hit them hard, wake up, like a slap on their face or on their legs and stuff, and wake them up for their breathing. So it was tough getting to learn to do the heart monitor. I had to learn how to operate that machine. I had to call my energy bill and say, hey, I have a heart monitor. So in case I lose light, I want to be on their priority list. So not did it just come with, I need to do this, but thinking outside the box, thinking I need to get the external environment ready while I'm still getting the internal environment ready. So it was one of those things. And of course, I made it. First baby came home on Friday. It was Isha that came home, and Aisha came home that Monday. And we eased right into it. And family support, I am telling you, is the best thing ever.
Amazing, Tina. I don't even have words to tell you how awesome you are. So then how did you then manage work-life balance? Because now you had two babies plus a job.
That is true. I did have the two babies. When they came home, I took the rest of my FML when they were born. So I was able to spend time with them in the beginning as well. Get to connect with them. And this is my finally happy moment, living in that moment and thriving in that moment too, getting everything done and making sure that I'm there for them. And the heart monitor was very stressful throughout the time. Then, of course, my FML leave was done. So I had to find other options at that time. So I hired a nanny come help us. And she was a God-sent blessing, a true God-sent blessing. And I would work from home even during that time, which was 16 years ago. Working from home was like not even an option. Now after COVID is such a big option, but at that time I was blessed. Thanks to MD Anderson for letting me work from home at that time. And I would get to spend time with them as well. So I had set up an office there, and then the nanny would take care of them. She treated them just like her kids. She got on the bandwagon of this heart monitor and knew how to do everything and how to feed them. So it's just amazing and just perfect timing. When God sends you angels, he sends you the right angels and when you need them the most.
Speaking of God, how did faith play a role in this?
God and faith were definitely my right wing, I think. Also, during this time when I was pregnant, I was also serving as a leadership position at my mosque. And at that time, when that first day when the doctor told me I need to go pack my stuff, that night I prayed and I said, do your thing, do what you need to do, what is the best thing. But throughout faith, throughout the leadership roles I played, it's truly paying it forward to my kids. I feel like the revolving is there. I give and then God gives you back. But he gives it to your kids so that way they can keep leaping forward and paying it forward as well.
So how did you manage financial support here? How did financial empowerment play a role here, and how did you manage that?
Well, I'll tell you, my insurance did not like me because the fact is that my kids were in NICU for 4 months, but also Aisha, on the second day she was born, needed a heart surgery. The heart surgery costed a lot of money for a NICU baby, and even babies being delivered, they're not cheap. But now having a heart surgery, watching these kids in NICU and getting all of their medicine and all of that, the incubator, and there's so much that stuff that goes through there. I will tell you that my insurance bill were about $2 million for each child. So I'm telling you, my insurance probably doesn't like me, but I'm truly blessed for getting that paid. And then it played a big role, but it was the copay that I just had to pay. But it's truly eye-opening to see how much medical cost. And this was 16 years ago. So I can't even imagine now living in 2025 what that bill would look like.
How did financial empowerment in general, raising babies or having a family, play a role in your life?
Well, I had to pay double for everything. Even when I go through Chick-fil-A line, I have to get 2 kids' meal versus 1 kid's meal. Everything was doubled, but when the diapers were double, getting any milk supplies was double, but it's also double the fun. When we look at financial, it's truly a financial burden, but the family's there to help you out when I need a financial help. But also my work played a big role. I was also progressing in my career as well. Right now, I'm going through the Coach Rice program as well. And it's through the Leadership Institute of MD Anderson that I can do that. I'm also still growing myself. So financially, I just didn't stop there. I continued my professional growth as well as my personal growth with the kids.
Oh, your kids are very lucky to have you as their mom. And not just that, you were doing everything you could to foster your kids and also to grow yourself to ensure that they are taken care of from a financial standpoint. That's a lot on your shoulders. I don't know how you're standing now. Yeah, so I like to ask this question to everybody. If money came knocking on your door, what would you say?
I would say it's about time it showed up. No, I think I would be grateful. I think that living in a grateful, and I've been raised in a way to be grateful for everything. If that money knocked on my door, I would accept it, of course. But I would also share with my family that have been there for me, providing that financial support. As a single mom, it comes very difficult to be at a state of thinking about finance. But when your family's there, I would definitely share that wealth with my family and also the community as well.
That's great. And so what keeps you grounded, especially when you have to leap through all these challenges?
I think always self-questioning your options, not always thinking one way. And it's like I said, not always thinking what's going to hold tomorrow. Let's take it sometimes hour by hour, take a minute by minute. Sometimes you just have to pause and breathe. Those are the grounding rules that I have for myself. Like I look at the options and I smile, and I'm very on my personality on a positive side. On my real colors, I'm a blue, so that goes hand in hand for me. And it plays a bigger role for me because it's how I react, how I challenge myself, and how I present myself on a daily basis that is still the same from 20 years ago or even 20 years going forward. Am I still the same person? Am I still thriving today? Do I still have that resilience that I had? Do I have that resilience tomorrow? That's what makes me going.
How did you find courage when you were going through this when life got heavy? What gave you that courage?
I would definitely say family and God. They made sure that sometimes I would get emotional, and some days I would just cry it out. But guess what? Who woke up stronger? It was me. Who woke up stronger with me? My family. To have that, your emotional intelligence going through that. But you have to tap into yourself and say, I am here. What can I do? What are my options?
Hearing your story, you go, girl. All right. What legacy do you want to leave for your kids?
I think for the legacy for my kids or anybody, I question myself, when I die, what do I want people to say about me? If I'm dying, what would they say? And also, what would they think about me? But sometimes I tell myself, does it really matter what people think? And does it really matter what they want to say? What matters to me is what I want to say to myself when I'm dying. Have I done everything right in my control? Or are there things that I could have done differently? So I say the legacy is actually my legacy. I survived, I thrived, and here I am to my next chapter in my life.
That is amazing. I do want to ask you, have you told this to your kids and how do they feel? What is their reaction?
My kids know the story of the NICU and how they've been through it and the other challenges in their life that they faced as well too. It's just not NICU, but some personal challenges I've been through with my marriage. They've been through there. They've learned so much. But guess what? They're the ones that are thriving more than I am because they've seen that at a young age. They want to be the ones that saying, Mom, I want to make that impact for someone else. I want to make sure that I'm impactful for you. And I'm grateful for you. They count their blessings every single day for what they've seen and what the future holds for them. Sometimes they'll come home and they say, oh, Mom, I want to do this. I want to do this. When I get a house, I want you to live with me. You'll have your own area. I'll make you travel most of the time. And it's just one of those things. They're thinking about the future and making sure that they have the resources. And that's the potential I want to see in them.
Like you said, they're trying to pay it forward and they've seen how strong and powerful and how much you've dedicated your life towards their betterment. And now it's so nice to see that they recognize that and are aware of that. I'm sure you are very proud of that.
Yeah, for sure.
If there's a woman who is at the edge of taking her leave, what advice would you give her?
I would help them and say, just ask your questions. Check your options, what you have control. And don't think about what is going to happen tomorrow. What are you doing right now? Check your minute by minute. Check your hour by hour. What controls do you have? What is going to play out? But what is it going to do to you? You know, how we ask everybody when we greet people, the first question we ask is, how you doing? But the question real is, how am I doing? Why aren't we checking with ourselves? Instead of grading that person and saying, how are you doing? What about yourself? How are you doing at that moment? Do an internal check. I know sometimes we talk to ourselves, but it's not out loud. The advice that I would have is talk out loud. Just talk to yourself and say, how am I doing? What can I do? And people might think you're crazy because you're talking out loud to yourself, but you can do it mentally, but it's more powerful. When you say those words, check in with yourself.
You've been through so much. You are a definition of resilience. Now I'd like to move into what I call Soul Sparks, which is a rapid fire round. What does empowerment mean to you?
Empowering to me is giving someone else that power that you have, making sure that they have the tools and resources, or even just comfort, or even phone calls that is empowering them to make that decision.
Coffee or chai?
Chai with Parley G.
What's the best advice your kids have ever given to you?
Well, that's a challenging question. This might not be a rapid fire. Well, I was in a personal situation where my kids are the ones that advised me to leave the situation and leave the area and told me that I can do better. So my kids have given me feedback. But you know, this is the two-way family support we have where the kids are welcomed to give you feedback. Even though they're young, they're 14, they're 15, they're 16. Trust them. They're saying it for your good too.
Beautiful. If life was a book, what would the title be?
It would be Resilience and Still Thriving.
If your twins could describe you in one word, what do you hope it would be?
Positivity.
What advice would you give to a woman who feels like they're carrying the weight of the world alone?
If you feel like that, advice I have is look around you. There's people that are struggling in that same boat. Everything that you see on the screen is not the same. Everything that you hear about he said, she said could not be true. So check in with yourself. Ask yourself how you're doing. But also look around you and looking at what resources do you have? Which friends do you have? So the advice I would give is basically look around you and ask yourself too, what can I do in this matter?
One bold thought you want to leave our listeners.
Keep going. Don't stop here because life is beautiful.
Tina, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It was truly a pleasure to hear your story, and I hope there are many people out there who can hear this today and truly take this in and empower themselves. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. It means a lot. And I appreciate what you're doing as well, empowering women out there and empowering the world. Everyone's a story at a time, but everyone has their own story too.
Thank you so much. Fareeda's story reminds us that even in the hardest chapters, we have the power to choose hope, to ask questions, and to keep leaping towards what's possible. Life may not always go as planned, but it can still be beautiful. If the conversation touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to keep going. If this conversation sparked something in you, share it with someone who needs it. And remember, your leap doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be yours. Your story is the light someone else is waiting for. Until next time, keep leaping, keep believing in your magic.